Hey guys, welcome back to the video, and today the revenge deck just dropped, which means I now have a new Super Minion army, and I maxed it out on the first day, so I can be sure to get as much testing as possible and give you guys the best Super Minion army as possible. Now, I've created many use cases for the Icebox spell, which is going to be used with my Dragon Duke. However, it can also be used with the Giant from the Queen, and it can also be used to set up your Fireball if you don't have any anchors, since usually you're going to run this Fireball army without an Ice Block. So if you have to drop a Z point into the base, with that being the only value you can get, having the Ice Block is going to be really valuable to set up the Fireball and make sure your Warden stays alive. So anyway, I'm going to just hop right into the attacks and show you guys how exactly to use this new army. Alright, so on to the first attack. Now, for almost every one of these attacks you're going to do, you're going to almost always want to use the Flame Flinger. However, it doesn't work out on this base since I can't really find any good Flame Flinger value. And I would say that good Flame Flinger value is going to be able to get two major defenses down. So like a multi-archer tower, a geared up defense, the multi-geared cannon, like any of those. If you get two of those down, that's definitely going to be good enough value to drop in your Flame Flinger. And of course, you do have the Rocket Loons to help set it up within the attack. And you can also see that I'm using those Super Minions to help clear out some of these defenses on the outside. That's always going to be a cheaper housing space cost if you do end up using Super Minions. So try and use those, but it's not always going to be able to happen. Now, your Fireball. So the Fireball doesn't need to be insane value. You just need to get one of 3, maybe 4 defenses down. It's going to be your Monolith, as I did on this attack, the Revenge Tower, or it's going to be the Clan Castle. You could also get down the crafted defense. However, that's not really necessary. I feel like it doesn't have too big of an impact on this attack, especially with that Ice Block spell. You can always just Ice Block whatever you're using, whatever's deepest in towards the base, and it just negates the crafted defense. So as you can see, I'm still using that backpack with the giant arrow to help get a lot of that value, but that just means I have to watch out for my Dragon Duke and make sure to use the ice blocks as he moves in towards the base. So a lot of the time, you're going to try and save your recall. I might end up removing it from the army in the future just because I try and use my Super Minions to help route my Warden around the base, and I think that the recall is kind of not necessary with this army, especially if you're using it correctly. You're almost never going to have to use it. The only time is maybe if your Warden takes a lot of damage, but at that point, you know, you're better off using other types of spells to help keep them alive. So a lot of bases are very commonly using a heavy hero compartment by the town hall with a logger, and for these, I like to save my Super Minions all towards the very end and my poison spell, just so I can either have my Warden move in by himself towards that area with all the Super Minions, or as you can see here, save it for the back end with all my heroes, and then just poison them and drop in all the Super Minions, and they just go down super quickly and make easy work of every hero and logger on the base. Now the meta has changed quite a bit with the long shot coming about, so on those, you're just going to want to use the either poison spell or your totem spell to help distract, and you should be all good countering those guardians. Okay, so on the second attack now, we see another very similar style of base with this heavy hero compartment in the very back, but on this time, we're going to be able to get some great Flame Flinger value either on the left or right side, as you can see, with only needing to snipe out that Archer Tower. So right away, you're going to look for either that Fireball value or your Flame Flinger value. I prefer to go for the Fireball value first, just because I think it's going to be more important for setting up the funnel for your heroes. So go for that right away, and right away I just saw Fireball on this Expo gets my Revenge Tower and Monolith, so that's just going to be a no-brainer to go for. And I only have to use 1 or 2 invises depending on what I take down on the outside. Now my Flame Flinger is going to set up a really good funnel for my Queen and Dragon Duke in towards the middle of the base, and this is also what you're going to want to use your King for. So if you set up Flame Flinger and that sets a really good funnel, you're going to be able to sort of save your King for the middle of the base if there's a big compartment in the middle, or just sort of dropping him in the back end and help take down bunch of defenses, in this case, just help take down this giant compartment with all the heroes. Now, if you're watching closely, you can see that I dropped 2 minions to route my warden away from the left side and over to the right side. This is what I mean by not using the recall. In most armies, you're going to end up using the recall to help move him towards that side of the base. However, here, you can just use 2 minions because that's enough of the housing space to route your warden around, and it just saves a lot of, I guess, spell storage. So that's a reason why I might end up removing this in the future. So as you can see, everything's moving in quite well. That Flame Flinger is still staying up. So now as your Dragon Duke moves in towards the middle of the base and towards high hitting areas, you're going to want to watch out and be ready to use that Ice Box since, of course, that's what the purpose of the Revenge deck is. On this right side, I did end up recalling my Warden. And I think that's like the main use case for it. If I didn't recall my healers would have ended up dying to that Fire Spitter, so I think it was a great, I guess, ability to have that the recall spell available. Now, as you can see, I ended up dropping in my King on that top side to help take down that Rage compartment, and my Dragon Duke, of course, I did Ice Block him to help take out a bunch of those defenses and just deal a bunch of damage while he helped, like, heal him back up. I could have also used my Ice Block on my King at that top side, and I would have also done a great job at tanking a bunch of damage. So I think the Ice Blocks are really helpful for this army, and I might end up just dropping that recall for another Ice Block and another Invis, just because of how versatile both of those spells could be in this army. So anyway, on to the third attack now. Okay, so on the third attack now, and right away I saw that this guy is from a clan which placed first place in the most recent Legend CWL, so right away I was a little nervous because this base is probably going to be better than your average one. But I also did find right away that it wasn't too great of a base. I can get great fireball value with only like 1 or 2 invises, and I got great flame flinger value from only taking out 2 to 3 defenses. So strangely, a very easy base for this army. So on this right side, I see flame flinger value. You also want to make sure you check the defenses on the outside of the base when you are setting your flame flinger down, because it's a very easy rookie mistake to make if you just end up dropping him inside of a defense and it going down right away, and that is probably like guaranteed to sell your attack just because you're wasting an entire siege machine and your clan castle troops. So over here you can see I sent in a 2 invis fireball, really easy, and also does get really great value. Now, I end up using a super minion to help take out a bunch of garbage defenses on the outside and help tighten the funnel for my Duke and Queen in towards the base. And again, we see I have really good value getting either the clan castle or that revenge tower. I'm going for the clan castle just because I think it's gonna be more important to help route my warden in towards the base and not have him deal with any headhunters or ice golems that might pop out of it. So over here, you can see I ice block my Dragon Duke right away just because there's so many air defenses, expos, fire spitters, multi-infernos. Those are all the defenses that are going to be the best value for your the new Dragon Duke ability, because there's such a high hitting or high fire rate defense. So your Dragon Duke is going to be able to get a lot of those shots off and gain back a lot of health. Now on this, again, you can see I have a sort of heavy hitting Town Hall compartment with a Minion Prince, Wrench Tower, and Logger. So I send in my Warden by himself and a bunch of the Super Minions that I've saved throughout the attack. And I use some totem spells to help distract that Logger. That's going to be the best counter for the Logger, especially when you're sending in your Warden towards him, just because they can take out the healers if you don't set your warden in at an angle. So losing those healers is going to be probably the number way to lose an attack. Because if you lose your warden, at least you can recall the healers and send them in with your main push, which can recover attack a lot of the time. However, if you lose them all completely, you're probably going to end up 2-starring, maybe even 1-starring in this case. So on to the final attack now. Alright, so for this attack, I'm going to just try and stay zoomed out just so you guys can see how exactly everything sort of comes together and culminates in getting a 3-star with this army. So right away, scout for the fireball value. A lot of the time, you're going to be able to get an easy fireball towards a rage tower, or just any defense on the outside, with either one of those 4 that I pointed out earlier: the monolith, revenge tower, clan castle, or crafted defense. In this case, can't really get a good fireball with the monolith because there's nothing of value around him. So best bet is going to go for that spell tower and just get a bunch of funneling value and, I guess, defensive value as well. Now I tried to set up a flame flinger on that right side, but if you saw, some of the hidden Teslas popped, which means my fire rocket balloons ended up rerouting, and I didn't have enough rocket balloons to help take down that expo and get that flame flinger value. But if I had, that would be some great value getting down a spell compartment, multi inferno, like all of those would be really great defenses to get down. Now your furnaces are going to be sent in with your warden. Um, a lot of the time I'm going to save them for when I actually move him over to where he's going to be for the rest of the attack. So in this case, I'm going to recall him as he, I guess, moves in and takes out these last few defenses, just so I can make sure he doesn't go in with my main push, because a lot of the time it's going to take the healers off and then he's going to end up dying. So keeping him by himself is the main goal of the warden in this army. So I'm going to go ahead and recall, move him back up to that top left. And in this case, again, I'm going to take down a clan castle. I think that's a lot of the time better value than the revenge tower, especially if your revenge tower is by itself. Just having something, either one of your totem spells or in this case the Dragon Duke with an ice block, it's going to be able to tank that revenge tower very easily. And as you can see, I used my log launcher to help take it out, so it doesn't really pose much of a threat throughout this attack, making the clan castle the better choice to go for. Now, the king. In a lot of the attacks, you can see I'm using it to help funnel my main push in towards the center of the base. And in this case, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm using it to send it in towards that rage tower and just take out as many defenses as possible. You're going to want to save your king ability for, try to save as long as possible. But of course, it's better to just activate a little earlier if that means he's going to be taking less damage and hopefully last a little longer. Now over here, you can see I have another sort of heavy area with these heroes and guardian. So it's definitely one of the most common styles that are going around right now. So those either totem spells, poison spells, any of those are going to be really good to help counter it. And it just makes really easy work for the space, especially if you keep all your super minions for the back end to help take out any of the heroes or loggers that are present at that area. So that's going to be the last second for this video, and let me just go ahead and wrap up. Okay, so that's going to be it for this video. And again, the army link will be in the description, and you don't need to have your revenge deck at the max level. I think around maybe level 18 at the minimum is going to be what you're going to want. So if you can, try and get it there. There's some mighty morsels that are in the event, and hopefully by the 26th, I think, is when they're going to have it maxed out for everyone. You will have it by then, so you can definitely go ahead and use this army. You could also use this with just the heart ability on the Dragon Duke. That's going to be sufficient, but it just might not be as powerful with the ice blocks that I'm using in this army. So it's going to be it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.